The turning of the tide in a bustling city in the heart of the United States. There was a prestigious corporation known for its cutting-edge technology and world-class innovation. But beneath the shiny exterior, hidden in the hallways and conference rooms, there was a toxic undercurrent. This was the reality for Kiera Thompson, a bright, ambitious black woman who had just been hired as an entry-level employee at the company. Kiera's talent was undeniable. She quickly became known for her sharp intellect, creativity, and ability to find innovative solutions to complex problems. However, her journey within the company was marred by the subtle and not-so-subtle forms of racism that she faced daily. One of the primary sources of this mistreatment was her manager, Robert Williams. Robert was an older, traditional man, set in his ways. He often belittled Kiera in meetings, taking credit for her ideas, and even made disparaging comments about her race, disguised as jokes. He would mock her hair, her style, and once even commented that she wasn't cut out for the corporate world. Kiera, while hurt, remained resilient. She had learned early on that the world wasn't always kind, but she refused to let anyone see her falter. Despite the emotional toll, she kept her head down, worked hard, and kept pushing forward. But as time passed, she began to wonder how much longer she could endure the constant stream of microaggressions and overt racism. Then, everything changed. One fateful day, Robert's behavior caught up with him. A disgruntled employee had filed a formal complaint against him for his repeated discriminatory actions. The HR department, long aware of Robert's behavior but reluctant to act, was forced to take action when the complaints became public. The company launched an investigation. It was Kiera's strength and the support of her colleagues that proved to be the tipping point. She bravely came forward with her experiences, sharing details of the way she had been treated. She wasn't the only one. Several other employees, both black and non-black, stood in solidarity with her. The investigation revealed a pattern of inappropriate behavior and misconduct on Robert's part that could no longer be ignored. Robert was swiftly removed from his position, and Kiera, now seen as a figure of integrity and resilience, was appointed as his successor. The promotion was not only a personal victory for Kiera, but a statement about the company's commitment to change. As the new manager, Kiera knew she had a difficult road ahead. She had no intention of allowing her success to be defined by Robert's failure. Rather, she wanted to create an environment where no one had to face the same prejudice she did. She immediately set to work, fostering a more inclusive, respectful workplace culture. She implemented diversity and sensitivity training, encouraged open dialogue about race, and made sure to lead by example. But Robert's response to Kiera's rise to power was more complicated than she expected. One day, in a private meeting, he came to her, clearly agitated. "I never thought a woman like you would make it this far," he said, his voice shaking with a mixture of anger and regret. "You've got no idea how hard it was to see you rise above me." Kiera paused, seeing in Robert's eyes something she hadn't anticipated: vulnerability. The man who had once looked down on her was now the one in tears, overwhelmed by the consequences of his own actions. He had spent his career marginalizing others, convinced of his superiority. But now, the tide had turned, and he found himself in the position of being subjugated. "I understand why you're upset," Kiera said, her voice calm yet firm. "But this isn't about me. This is about what's right. You had the power to make this a better place, and you chose to make it worse. I'm not here to take revenge, but to build something better for everyone." The conversation ended in silence. Robert left the room with no further words, but the weight of Kiera's message lingered. For him, her success was a stark reminder of how far he had fallen, not just in rank, but in the moral sense. It was a painful realization that the world had changed around him, and with it, his role had been permanently altered. Kiera's leadership was transformative. The company's culture shifted toward inclusion, and her innovative ideas began to reshape them. Company's future. But more than that, her personal growth was evident. She had become not just a manager, but a beacon of hope for those who had been silenced, overlooked, or discriminated against. As for Robert, he was left to reflect on his past actions and the price he paid for his arrogance. Though he continued to live in the shadow of Kiera's success, He could no longer deny the truth, the very qualities he had tried to undermine in her were the same qualities that had ultimately made her the leader she had become. And Kiara, while never forgetting the pain she had endured, stepped into her new role with a quiet strength, knowing that her victory wasn't just about her. It was about everyone who had been marginalized, overlooked, and denied opportunity. In her rise, she had become a symbol of resilience, and the company, once tainted by prejudice, was now a better place because of her leadership.